While Delta Plus variant started in India is spreading worldwide, a new strain labeled Lambda was first detected in Peru in August 2020 is a new variant of concern. This variant, also known as C37, and WHO has labeled as a variant of interest. There are now 11 official SARS-CoV-2 variants listed by the WHO. All SARS-CoV-2 variants are distinguished from one another by the mutations in their spike proteins, the components of the virus that allow it to invade human cells. Spike proteins found on the surface of the virus are what enables viruses to attach to and enter human cells, and all current vaccines are directed against them. Spike protein is also the basis of current COVID-19 vaccines, which seek to generate an immune response against it. The findings indicate that mutations in the beta variants change the shape of the spike surface at certain locations. For instance, the Delta variant first detected in India has two key spike protein mutations, T478K and L452R, that allow it to infect cells more easily and evade the body's immune response, while the Lambda has 7 unique protein mutations. While it's possible that Lambda new variant is indeed more infectious than other variants, it's too early to know for sure, said Kirsty Short, a virologist at the University of Queensland. On 23 June, Public Health England classified it as a variant under investigation after 6 cases were detected in the UK to date, which were all linked to overseas travel. This variant has spread to 29 countries, including Australia. This could be more infectious and harder to tackle with vaccination. It has been brought to Australia by an overseas traveller who was in an hotel quarantine in New South Wales in April this year. It was first detected in Peru in December 2020. Since it has spread to 29 countries, 7 of which are in South America. In April and May this year, Lambda accounted for over 80% of COVID-19 cases in Peru, with a high proportion of cases also in Chile, Argentina and Ecuador. Even though there's limited information available about whether or not the Lambda variant escapes the vaccines, researchers in Chile have published the results of a study they carried out. According to the conclusions of the preprint paper, mutations present in the spike proteins of Lambda variant of interest confer increase in infectivity and immune escape from neutralizing antibodies triggered by CoronaVac, the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine. While scientists at Public Health England, that's PHE, expressed concern that the latest strain of SARS-CoV-2 may spread quickly and may also be more resistant to vaccines, they emphasized there was no evidence corroborating the Lambda variant caused more severe disease or reduced the effectiveness of current vaccines. How does AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines compare to Pfizer's? AstraZeneca vaccine is cheap, easy to distribute and relies on different tech than its competitors. Even better AstraZeneca vaccines can be stored at normal refrigerated temperatures, meaning it could be key to reaching people in rural and underfunded areas, one of the most pressing issues in the fight against the novel coronavirus.
We're joined now by the BBC's medical editor, Fergus Walsh. Fergus, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us again. Just explain for people, I mean, obviously we've had a vaccine already with the Pfizer-BioNTech one, but why this one specifically is so important?
It's important because, unlike the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, this one can be stored in your fridge, my fridge. It can be transported at fridge temperature, whereas the Pfizer jab has to be very carefully handled and transported at -70. So that immediately takes away the problems about getting it into village surgeries, into care homes. And globally, it's important too, because AstraZeneca is planning to produce 3 billion doses of this vaccine in 2021, and it'll play a really important role in trying to bring the global pandemic to an end.
Now let's discuss the safety and the efficacy. Clinical trials for the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines have shown that these two vaccines are effective in preventing development of COVID-19 symptoms and protecting against severe disease. These trials involve tens of thousands of participants worldwide. AstraZeneca vaccine is 76% effective against asymptomatic coronavirus infections and 100% effective in preventing hospitalization and severe disease, according to an interim analysis of its United States phase 3 trial, which included more than 32,000 people. It is also 85% efficacy against symptomatic COVID-19 in participants aged 65 and over. The primary endpoint, vaccine efficacy at preventing symptomatic COVID-19, was 76%, occurring 15 days or more after receiving 2 doses given 4 weeks apart. In addition, results were comparable across age groups, with vaccine efficacy of 85% in adults 65 years and older. A key secondary endpoint, preventing severe or critical disease and hospitalization, demonstrated 100% efficacy. Is Pfizer vaccine more effective than AstraZeneca vaccine in case you catch the infection or to prevent getting the infection? Evidence suggests AstraZeneca and Pfizer's are equally effective. A preprint study from the UK recently found that real-world data suggests both Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines are equally effective and no real difference in the level of protection offered. The research involved 373,402 participants, revealed the odds of being infected after 2 doses of either vaccine were reduced by 70% compared to unvaccinated individuals without prior infection, with no evidence that the benefits varied between the AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccines. The risk of rare blood clotting. In over 480,000 people receiving a COVID-19 mRNA vaccine, Pfizer or Moderna, cerebrovascular thrombosis occurred in 4 in a million. Cerebrovascular thrombosis has been reported to occur in about 5 in a million people after first dose of AstraZeneca Oxford COVID-19 vaccine. With the 2 vaccines currently in circulation in Australia, Dr. Kylie Quinn, Group Head and Research Fellow at RMIT's School of Health and Biomedical Science, told News GP the results are good news. These are the kind of real-world data that we need to really understand how these vaccines perform, she said. Associate Professor James Wood, a leading vaccine expert at the University of New South Wales, agrees and says the findings provide reassurance Australia is on the right path. which COVID-19 vaccines are efficacious against the variants. Researchers around the world are sifting through data to determine how the leading COVID-19 vaccines are doing against the variants of concern. Now, a big preprint study from Ontario suggests that the vaccines used in Canada, Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca, are very effective against the 4 big variants of concern: Alpha B117, Beta B1351, Gamma P1, and Delta B1617.2. Our findings suggest that even a single dose of these 3 vaccine products provides good to excellent protection against symptomatic infection and severe outcomes caused by the 4 currently circulating variants of concern, and that 2 doses are likely to provide even higher protection, the authors concluded. The study's results showed that being fully vaccinated gives a person roughly the same protection against Delta as Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. The data shows that the vaccines are doing even better than previous studies suggested against the variants in terms of symptomatic infection as well as hospitalization and death. Vaccines are doing exactly what they should be doing, says Dr. Zain Chagla, an infectious disease physician at St. Joseph's Healthcare in Hamilton and an associate professor at McMaster University. Getting vaccinated is the most effective intervention against the spread of COVID-19 and all of the variants.
Soumya, explain to us, please, the level of protection that you have if you have received 1 dose of the vaccine versus if you're fully vaccinated.
So the main goal of these vaccines is really to prevent severe disease, because what we want is for people, even if they get the infection, is for them to recover from it and not become seriously ill. So that's something that all of these vaccines do really well. Of course, there are different levels. You read about the efficacy trials. They may range from 70 to 90%. But in terms of just looking at the prevention of severe disease and hospitalization, they're all very good, over 90% effective. Again, they vary in the protection against getting infection. Ideally, you'd like a vaccine which completely prevents you from getting infected, therefore you can't get ill. But none of the vaccines that we have currently are 100% protective. So this is why even if you're vaccinated, you can get the infection, but the chances are you'll get a very mild symptoms or no symptoms at all, and that your chances of getting seriously ill are really, really low.
So Soumya, if we can still get infected and also infect others even after we are fully vaccinated, then why get vaccinated?
There are 2 very good reasons to get vaccinated. The first is to protect yourself from getting severely ill if you catch the infection. We know that there's a certain proportion of people of all age groups who do get severely ill, and you could have a chance of dying from this disease, and this is what we want to protect. So that's why you want to get vaccinated in the first place. But secondly, if you get vaccinated, and yes, you may still get the infection, because we know that these vaccines are not going to protect you 100% from the infection. So there is a small risk you get infected, and you could pass it on to others. Why do you want to take the risk of doing that? Why do you want to be one person in the chain of transmission? What we need to do in the world today is to break those chains of transmission, get a control on this disease. So that's why we say get vaccinated as soon as you can get access to your vaccine when your turn comes, and continue to take all the precautions so that you are completely protecting yourself as well as protecting others around you.
Hope this video talk was useful. Stay safe, get the jab, and goodbye for now.